The blush launches just keep on coming. In today's video, I am going to be trying on, talking about, giving you my first impression of the brand new Rare Beauty Soft Matte Bouncy Blushes. So if you're interested in seeing someone with very fair skin try on 4 shades, talk about the formula, and also do some formula comparisons, then go ahead and keep on watching. And if you're not already subscribed, would love for you to subscribe and follow me on Instagram. The internet went ablaze last week when Rare Beauty did a influencer event. I believe it was in LA. And at that event, photos leaked or came out of a new blush formula. I'm not gonna lie, I started hyperventilating when I saw the photos because I love Rare Beauty. I love Rare Beauty blushes, and the thought that they would come out with a third blush formula had me excited. Now, the launch was pretty confusing. Not to sound too much like a conspiracy theorist, but I think maybe the launch got a little bit messed up. Something seemed to happen because out of nowhere, 4 shades of the blushes launched on the Sephora website, and then those same 4 shades launched on the Rare Beauty website with an announcement that you could pick up the 4 shades that day only, with the rest of the collection, the 3 additional shades, launching at the end of March. I'm convinced an intern at Sephora made some mistake and accidentally turned the inventory on for those 4 shades when instead they were just supposed to upload the inventory and mark it as out of stock. I could be completely theorizing here. I just felt like the launch was pretty confusing. I think a lot of people are probably disappointed because they weren't able to get their hands on them because, again, they were literally available for 24 hours. But because I'm always updating and refreshing that Sephora app, I was able to act and I was able to pick up the 4 shades that were released. Now, the rest of the collection is going to be released again at the end of March. I believe it is March 27th. Right now, I will have the links in my description for both the Sephora, to Sephora and then also to Rare Beauty. So then once the collection drops, if you're watching this after March 27th and you want to support my channel, you could purchase them down below. Now, let's talk a little bit about price point, claims, formula, and then the 4 shades that I have. So price point, these retail for $27. You may already know what I'm about to say if you have watched my blush videos before, and that is I love the packaging because the outer packaging matches the inner packaging. If you are a makeup hoarder like myself, this is very important. It is very important because when you're digging through your drawers, you want to know which shade is which, and having packaging that matches the inner color just is such a nice added perk. Now for the claims, I'm going to actually read directly from the Unicarton. So these claim to be a cushiony cream to powder blush that glides onto skin for a weightless wash of velvety, long-lasting color. When the photos and description came out, I immediately wondered, are these going to be like the Swede Beauty blushes? Or if anyone remembers Item Beauty, this was randomly Addison Rae's beauty brand that was really good. It was affordable. It was at Sephora. It didn't last long. I think maybe if she were to launch it now at this stage in her career, it could do better. But it was a very, what I think maybe similar texture and formula. I also was wondering, is this going to be like a ColourPop formula? So towards the end of the video, once I have tried all of these on, I am going to bring in some other blushes from my collection, and we'll talk about how the textures are similar or different. Let's start off by just doing a first impression now. I have not touched the blushes at all. I should also mention that this is the shade Happy. Oh, and every blush in the collection has a name that corresponds to an existing blush in the liquid blush lineup. So I think that's also nice and helpful. So if you know, like, oh, I love the undertone of XYZ blush and you want it in another formula, there's not a lot of guessing, as long as, you know, the colors are actually similar to the existing ones in the liquid formula. Okay, so we're going to go into Happy. Ooh, it is very bouncy. Okay, this is bouncier than I was expecting. This is a very, like, putty-like texture. It's getting decent color payoff on my finger. And this is also immediately reminding me, if any of you remember the Maybelline Bouncy blushes from back in the day, I loved those. They were these little round blushes with a clear lid, and I would just love to, like, dip my finger in and play with them. They didn't actually have great longevity, but they were such a fun product because of the formula. And this is reminding me a lot of that formula. Yeah, it's so interesting because it's like spongy and also a little bit like a putty all at once. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay, let's do a swatch now. So this is the shade Happy. Let's just do some arm swatches here. Okay, so here's the shade Happy. Ooh, I'm very impressed with that level of pigmentation. Sometimes I feel like for these, like, putty formulas, you really have to, like, build up the product to actually get some payoff, but not in this case. Okay, so here we have Happy. Now we're going to do the shade Hope. I would say Happy and Hope were, like, the two I was most excited about in the release. And then I'm really excited about one of the other shades that's launching. I'll put it on the screen which one that is, but that one I think it's going to look really good on my skin tone. Okay, so here we have, oh my gosh, I just can't stop playing in it. Okay, Hope. And this is, like, I think kind of like a mauve. No, I would say that's like a peachy mauve maybe. So we have Happy, Hope, and then next we have Grateful, which I actually love. Grateful in the liquid blush. You have to be very careful when you apply it because it's Rare Beauty, so they're extremely pigmented. You just do the tiniest dot and it is such a beautiful cherry tomato red. Ooh. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so here we have Grateful. I should also mention these are, like, not sticky at all. Sometimes I get that question about certain blushes. This formula is not like a sticky cream formula. It really is a cream meets powder. So you're not going to have to worry about, you know, your hair sticking to your face, over the blush, etc. Okay, and the last shade that I have is Truth. Oh, gorgeous. This is a beautiful, like, eggplant color. I love purple blushes. So here is, what's this one called again? Truth. Gorgeous. So here we have the lineup. And again, I'll say the colors one more time. We have Happy, Hope, Grateful, and Truth. My face no longer has blush or bronzer. We are ready to try these on. For application, I'm going to be using a denser brush, and just based on the way these feel and the way they picked up the pigment, I think this stippling brush from BK Beauty is going to work best, but you can use any stippling brush with this type of formula. This is the BK Beauty 101. I did purchase this on my own. I've been using it for years, but I do now have a code with them that I will put on the screen and down below. Okay, let's do like lightest shades to then like the brighter and bolder ones. Let's start with the shade Hope. We will do that on the right side of my face. Again, here is Hope, and I still don't have my like normal setup, so I don't have a mirror in front of me, so I am using the viewfinder as a mirror. So apologies if I'm not making proper eye contact with you. Wow. Okay, this in the viewfinder is looking really, really beautiful. Let me go grab a mirror though. The viewfinder was not lying. This is such a beautiful formula. Like, it blended with just 2 taps. Just 2 taps. I didn't apply that much product though, so let's see if we can build up the pigment, because that's obviously going to be important for people who are not Casper pale like myself, to see if this will work on their skin tone. So I'm going to build this up. Ooh, this is so pretty. I probably would have stopped kind of with that first application. Let's see how much we can build this up. Wow. I'm going to zoom you in so you can see just how beautiful this blush is. This is the shade Hope. Let's apply Happy to this side of my face. Ooh, I think this one might be a little bit more pigmented. Oh yeah, okay. So Happy is quite a bit more pigmented than Hope was. Okay, I got a crazy stripe on my face. That is a application error, not a formula error. But good to know that every single shade does not have an identical pigmentation level. So pay close attention when you pick these up and make sure don't go too heavy-handed at first. Oh, beautiful. Didn't do a great job applying this one, but you still can see that beautiful flush on the face. So this is the shade Happy. Time for the final 2 blushes. Let's get Grateful on my face. Oh, I'm so excited to try this one because it is very bright. We are going to be careful at first and just be gentle with our dabs into the product. This is gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. This is just like the tiniest amount to get a little flush going on the face. Let's build it up a little more. Okay, wiping off my brush now before I go in to blend, that I don't get too much product on there. This is going to be the most beautiful summer color. Okay, so here we have Grateful. I'll go ahead and build it up a little more so you can see how intense we're able to get it. It's really hard to like fully mess up the application of this product because of the way the texture is. Here it is a little bit more built up. And last but not least, we have the beautiful, beautiful purple shade called Truth. Let's be a little careful with this. Oh, gorgeous. I love a purple blush. And so here we have just a little bit. We can build it up a little more. Wiping off the brush now to blend so that we don't overdo it. Here we go. I applied a lot on this one, but I wanted you to be able to see the beautiful, beautiful color. Here we have Truth. It was going to drive me crazy with 2 different colors on my cheeks, so I went ahead and applied Truth to both sides, and wow. Love this, love this. First impression of this formula and this launch is yes. Yes, yes, yes. I just wish they'd released all the colors at once. But I guess for someone like me, it's probably good that they space it out. That way I can, enjoy the 4 shades I have before feeling the need to collect them all like Pokemon. Big thumbs up from me. Again, this is a first impression. So if for some reason I start to notice there is an issue with longevity, I will leave a comment down below, but application was great. I think the shade range is really beautiful. Very excited for those additional 3 shades. Before we go, I did want to talk a little bit about the texture and formula. I grabbed a bunch of what I'm going to call like putty, bouncy blushes, and we are going to do a live like touch and feel of these different formulas and some swatches. That way, if you already own some of these formulas and you really love them or you don't like them, I can tell you how they compare to the Rare Beauty ones. So if you're interested, then stick around for that. I want to start off with a classic bouncy blush. I mean, ColourPop Super Shock Cheek blushes are amazing, and it's been a while since I've worn one, I'm not gonna lie, so I kind of have to refresh myself on the texture. Oh, this is pretty similar. Okay, this is very similar in texture. Obviously, we're not doing, you know, a shade comparison. Oh, I do want to also show you, look, looks like those blushes do leave a little bit of a nice stain behind because I thought I'd wiped off those earlier arm swatches. So that's a good sign for longevity. Okay, so ColourPop one, it's feeling pretty similar. The Rare Beauty versus Super Shock, I would say they're pretty similar. However, the Rare Beauty one was a little bit wetter in formula than the Super Shock. I would say the Super Shock leans more on like the powdery side, whereas the Rare Beauty one in comparison leans a little bit more on the cream side. Another one I want to compare it to are the new Nude Sticks All Over Color Blush Bombs. I've been loving these, and these are an interesting formula. They're similar to the Rare Beauty ones, but now that I'm like touching and reminding myself of the formula, I think the Nude Sticks ones are a little creamier. However, when I'm swatching them, the finish is very similar to the Rare Beauty. So if you like the Nude Sticks formula, I think you'll like the Rare Beauty. A couple more for you, because this was just so fun. How often is there an excuse to bring out all the bouncy blushes? Although maybe this is going to be a trend and we're going to bring all those bouncy putty blushes back. Next, Item Beauty. Item Beauty, RIP Addison Rae's brand, Item Beauty. They came out with a powder, they call it a cream blush, but now that I am actually playing around in them again, I would say this is much more of a powder than a cream blush. Swatches beautifully, and this formula is so good. Can't get it anywhere anymore, but one of my subscribers had made a comment when I announced the launch of the Rare Beauty, wondering if they were going to be like the Item Beauty ones. I would say they are not. Item Beauty one is a lot drier in formula and way less cream based. And of course, you can't talk about a bouncy blush without talking about the MAC Glow Play blushes. This is one of the ones in the reformulation. This is the shade Groovy. And this is pretty dang similar. I would say this is very similar to Rare Beauty, but I think the Rare Beauty one, I don't know, I think something about the MAC one, it's way more of the putty texture. And I almost feel like when you push down on it, it does bounce back up more than the Rare Beauty one does. Again, I don't think this information is very helpful. I just thought it would be fun to talk through the different bouncy blushes. I don't think this is really going to impact your purchasing decisions. Okay, the other kind of putty blush I thought of is the M Cosmetics Pillow Plush Blush. This is the shade Tickled. Ooh, it's been a while since I've used these. Okay, this one is also very similar in formula. Now I'm going to go back to the Rare Beauty one so we can do a little bit of a bounce test here. Okay, very similar. I would say of the formulas that we've swatched or played with so far, the M Cosmetics one is the most similar to the Rare Beauty. I have a few more for you. I also wanted to talk about the Swede blushes. I love Swede. They're a brand from Sweden, and they make an air blush cream, which I thought would be kind of similar. It is a cream to powder formula, but this is a lot drier. And when I'm saying drier, I'm not saying there's something wrong with it. I'm just saying compared to the Rare Beauty one, it's similar, but it's more on the cream side, more on the powder side than the cream side. So this one is not super similar. I also wanted to bring out the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Melting Color Bombs. I feel like maybe they discontinued these, but I really liked these. And these are a similar idea, but these are denser. So they don't have that like bounce, but they are a cream to powder. They're also less pigmented. This is the new love of my life. I picked this up recently at Ulta, and this is the LA Girl On Cloud 9 Bouncy Blush and Bronzer. The tone of this bronzer, I think this is the perfect bronzer tone for my skin. But anyways, we're here to talk about the formula. This is another bouncy formula. I would say this one, similar to Swede, is on the denser side. So it's not going to be as like squishy and Play-Doh-y as the Rare Beauty one. But by the way, I have this linked down below. Get this because I don't know if this is going to be limited edition, but get this, it is amazing. Then we have two K beauty brands I wanted to compare. First is the Juicy Pang Au Peau Jelly Blusher. Probably butchering the name. Love these. You can get them on Amazon, YesStyle. And these are very similar to the MAC Cosmetics ones. Yep, very, very similar. Very, very plush and bouncy. I would say they have slightly less bounce than the MAC Cosmetics ones. But these are very similar to MAC Cosmetics. Kind of similar to the Rare Beauty, but less pigment. Like when I'm touching it on my finger, I'm not getting as much pigment. We have a special visitor. If you've watched my channel before, you may have seen Seamus last year when he was just a little baby. Now he's a big 1-year-old and he's giant. Say hi, Seamus. Oh, okay. Okay. The last comparison we have is from Holika Holika, and this is the Jelly Dough Blusher. And this is the shade Nuts Jelly. Oh, I love this shade. Ooh. This is very similar to the Rare Beauty. Wow. Okay, like the level of squish is very similar. I've got to say, from the comparisons, from just a very quick little test of a squish and an arm swatch, the ones that are closest to the Rare Beauty formula are going to be the M Cosmetics and then the Holika Holika Jelly Dough Blusher. So if you love those formulas, I think you are going to absolutely love the Rare Beauty one. Thanks for sticking with me through this video. If you are not already subscribed, would love for you to subscribe and leave a comment down below letting me know, are you picking up this collection or what other blush launches are you eyeing? And then if you are not following me on Instagram, please, 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 it helps me so much if you follow me on Instagram, because when it comes to receiving PR from brands, that's what they actually care about more so. Well, they care about both, but having a certain number of Instagram followers is like a basic requirement to qualify for PR. And right now I buy like 95% of the products. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Hope you decide to subscribe and follow, and I will catch you in my next video.